Welcome back, Heroclix fans. Today I have another team building video for you guys, and we have an armored Marvel team for you. It is 400 points. As you see, we have a resource as the Book of the Skull. We have Iron Mongrel, Tony Stark, and War Machine. These figures are all from the Iron Man set, along with 5 Pogs. Those are from the Fear itself scenario packs. Not really sure, but they're all 3-point Pogs. So let's get into the team build. So what I did here for this team is I wanted to use a couple figures that I liked, thought were interesting, but I haven't used them. Obviously, I have played Tony before. I've even made a video on it. But the way I made this team, I was thinking I really wanted to use the regular rare War Machine. I thought it was a pretty good figure for the points. The only downside was that it did not have willpower, but run and shot, 11 attack, 4 damage, and then there's other traits and powers that just made him feel like a pretty strong character with a pretty long dial. I was like, yeah, I want to use him. Then I was deciding on Iron Mongrel. I always looked at this figure's dial and I was a little underwhelmed, and I was just, I felt like there were some really good things about him, but I wasn't sold on him. So going into this tournament, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do my best to make this figure work, or at least make this figure work in my mind. So I built the team around him and War Machine. Then I realized I needed to throw Tony Stark on there and to wrap it up. A little bit of support, a little bit of outwit there, and mind control to tap it off. So that was the team I built for 400 points. So then I figured, well, if I'm going to play Iron Mongrel at the full points, where he has Stealth, Outwit, and Mastermind, I figured, well, we have a couple options just right off the bat for Mastermind. We have Tony Stark's Toughness, or we have War Machine's Invulnerability. So if we take a big hit, we have those options to, take some of the damage away. Or we have these fun little Pogs. And the fun little Pogs, guess what? That means Iron Mongrel can get hit 5 times, and then all the Pogs are gone. So you take 3 damage, okay, Mastermind it off to the Pog, and guess what? 1 Pog is gone. Also, if he went and got hit with a poison, so to speak, because there's no damage reducers on these top clicks, you just poison the Mastermind damage off to your trucker. Even if there's a character next to the trucker and Iron Mongrel, because the damage is dealt all at the same time, you can still Mastermind off the damage to the trucker. So it's really good, and it saves Iron Mongrel. But the key thing with Iron Mongrel is to keep him in stealth when he's on this top click. So let's go a little bit more into strategy. So deciding that, I thought, there's a little bit here that we're lacking. He does not have Indom, and he does not have Move and Attack on these stealth clicks. So I thought the Book of Skull was the perfect resource for this team, because it gave these other characters some bonuses. It would give War Machine the possibility of having Charge, or let me say Angrier's Hammer, which gives him Steel Energy, Regeneration, Charge, and probably a couple other things. I know Steel Energy was huge, Regeneration, and obviously he gets the +2 to attack, so that would be a 13 attack. I like that. Steel Energy, Regeneration helps him out quite a bit. That was a good hammer to drop on him. And then Iron Mongrel, of course, I would give him Null's Hammer. Why? Because you get willpower, the +2 to attack, which is a 12 attack. That's great. Also, like I said, the willpower and run and shot help him out tremendously. So now he can run and shot for 12 attack with stealth, outwit, and he can move in and out of stealth with the run and shot and still be a force to be reckoned with. So the object is to keep him in stealth, make sure you have at least a Pog or a figure next to him so that you can Mastermind any kind of damage your opponent decides they're going to throw your way. So ideally, you would want a couple Mastermind fodders nearby. Also, you have to be aware of energy explosion because of the way this team is built and the mastermind fodder. You definitely don't want to bunch up too much, even though this is that type of team that you do bunch up because of mastermind. So just be aware, and maybe you know that you're going to have to take energy explosion at least once or twice, so don't put all of your mastermind fodder all in one spot. Also, you can use your pogs for placement to like block line of fire. It's also incredible way to go. You have 2 flyers, Iron Mongrel and War Machine. So guess what? One of them can carry Tony and one of them can carry a pog. And then if you're at 400 points, you have 4 movements. So guess what? 2 more pogs can move. So then next turn, you really only have 2 pogs, and you can drop hammer next turn. So there's some possibilities there. I thought this team was pretty fun to play, and I thought it did really well. It actually went 3-0, and all of the matches that I played were really close, just because this team, you know, there was something missing with this team. But with the mastermind fodder, they were able to sustain the match, and basically with the hammers win the match. But my second match actually was really, really close. I went up against a team with the Phoenix Force resource, and that was really tough because he was able to get like plus stats with a couple characters, but the defense, I was still able to hit the defense with my +2 attack. So it helped out, but it was really, really close. I also would say that for this team, like I said before, don't worry about losing your pogs, and don't worry too much about losing Tony Stark as well. You can mastermind damage to Tony, and because he has regeneration later on, and he has the power where he can heal, he's a perfect sponge for mastermind. Perfect sponge for mastermind. So that's pretty much the team. Not going to go through much of the matches, but they were pretty close. As you can see, giving him Null's Hammer would give him run and shot. This team basically was just attack, 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 and keeping him in stealth. Permanent stealth. Try not to put him in an object, because your opponent can just blow the object out, and then he's standing there not in stealth anymore. So be prepared there. Also, you know, don't feel bad. Your biggest concern here is to keep these 2 alive. Then keep him alive the longest, because he has a long dial, and you know he's got mastermind. So sacrifice all your other characters before him. Let him stay, you know, in the game the longest, and you won't regret it. He played extremely well. I was very shocked, because the thing I haven't actually mentioned here that's a really kicker, he's got perplex, where he only can perplex down your opponent's defense by -2, which is huge. So with all these powers like outwit, 2 outwits, he also gets perplexed, Tony does. War Machine really is going to stay the same there, but the combination of -2 to your opponent's defense plus your hammers, which gives you +2 to your attack, that's a 4-point swing. You almost can hit anybody. And if you outwit their defense, guess what? You're just destroying people. And that was the thing that I learned. I was like, well, Iron Mongrel only has a 10 attack. Okay, if you give him the hammer, he has a 12 attack, and that's pretty solid, because his stats pretty much stay the same throughout the length of the dial. But when you factor in the -2 to your opponent's defense, almost anyone is hittable. I mean, I went up against Avengers Prime at 300 points with a, I think, 21 defense. What I did was I based him with pogs so that he was going to be stuck. Because Iron Mongrel had willpower, I could waste one of my turns to get into position. Then I would perplex down their defense, maybe use an outwit, and then come in with War Machine with his 13 attack and swing for 4 damage. So their 21 defense would go down to 19, and then War Machine would be swinging with a 13 attack, and now it's only a 6 when it could have been extremely extremely difficult to hit, but then it comes to a very reasonable attack. So that was kind of the game plan I used for this team, was to set up the defense with Iron Mongrel, have War Machine come in for the big attack, get some outwits, maybe mind control them again to knock them out with a second attack. So it's a very finesse team. If you get swarmed, you just have to fight it out, and maybe try to anticipate your opponent when they come at you. Like, I know what they're going to do. Maybe block line of fire with your pogs, come in, tie them up with the pog, set them up with a run and shot. So there's a bunch of different combinations with this team. With the resources helps this team quite a bit. We're in the age where every team has a resource. It's not necessarily what I prefer, but to stay competitive and to stay within your tournament scene and to have fun and not get beat all the time, sometimes you have to play with these resources to even the playing field. Because if you play against teams that do not have the resource dial, they're going to be easier to beat if you have a resource dial. If you play against a team with a resource dial and you do not have a resource dial, guess what? It's going to be very difficult because they're going to have that advantage of the extra powers, the extra stats that you may not have. It's unfortunate. Like I said, I kind of enjoyed when the game was back to the original where you just had the stats and powers on your dial. But we're not there anymore. We are with the resources, so we have to use them in tournaments. So where this is a fun team, the resource dial makes it playable. Where you play other teams that you're playing just a very crazy good figures with a resource dial, it just makes it unfun. This team was competitive and it was fun, and it was this team made for close matches, but with the resource dial, it helped me, win those games. If I didn't have the resource dial, this team definitely would not have performed like it did. So let's move on to the prize I won. So you're looking at that, you're like, wow, that's really cool. I'm like, yeah, no, it's pretty cool. This was the participation prize for month 2. I was unable to make it to month 2, so I had to win this tournament to get my danger. So I'm happy that I was able to do that. If I would have been able to play on the month 2, I probably would have been able to get danger and Black Panther, but that's okay. This is pretty cool, and that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this team building video. I know it's a little bit wordy here, but I kind of like to talk about Heroclix, and it's been a while. I've been really busy. My son is going to be born on March 25th, so that's coming very soon, and I've been pretty busy with the store and a bunch of other stuff. I still have a number of figures on my store, glasscabinethobbies.com. Check it out. We are still doing pre-orders for Superman and the Legion of Superheroes, so if you are looking for a brick or a case, definitely go to the website, purchase that. That helped me out tremendously, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, check out the website for a bunch of singles at very reasonable prices. So guys, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will be doing a little recap of the updated player's guide that they released today, where it went over a bunch of changes to the game. A lot of stuff that we knew about but didn't have the final word. A little bit about the stuff on the watch list that came out about a couple months ago. So that is pretty much it, guys. Take it easy and have a good night.